Welcome to the live stream, everybody. Bitcoin continues to see some pretty decent volatility, so I want to take a look at some current levels to watch out for on different time frames, as well as going into some strategies I use for entries as well as risk management, including some new signals that I've actually started using with the MDX Trendmaster indicators for scalping. And believe it or not, guys, I may have found a signal that I actually like more than the reversal warning W's, which I've always mentioned in my strategies. So I'll get into that a little bit later. But as it looks right now, you guys, that whole ETF debacle was just an absolute mess where we got this massive pump to the upside, obviously. That it's unfortunate that it was false news, obviously, but something to consider here from a bullish perspective is we saw that the market was very ready to react to such news. So if we actually do get a proper approved Bitcoin ETF at some point in time, we can see what the market wants to do. And obviously, with time, a lot of that liquidity would be eaten up, and all those sell orders are going to start disappearing. People holding shorts have to buy to close their short positions and all that sort of stuff. And we may see a very nice market move when that happens. I do strongly believe that, you guys know I'm not a fundamental guy. I do strongly believe that when we do get those ETF approvals, I think as soon as one goes, there's just going to be more clear guidelines. And I really think that we're all of a sudden going to see them popping off all over the place. And I really do think that's going to be the driving force with this next market cycle. Obviously, it's not going to be in a straight line. It doesn't have to do anything like that immediately, but just over time that will eat away at some of the supply. And just naturally, we should see, especially when you factor in the halving and all that sort of stuff, Bitcoin's just kind of programmed to gain value over time. But as it stands right now, unfortunately, it was fake news. But realistically, does the chart look ridiculous in any way? Where we topped out, anything like that? These are levels that I've been talking about on my streams, you guys. I was talking about this structure of resistance here. Just basically, the 786 is actually basically bang on my lower high resistance. As far as structure goes, I would be considering this my lower high resistance because, we had this range here, then we ended up setting lower lows, and then a lower low here when we got that massive dump to the downside there. What's the highest point between the previous two lows here would be this level here. So that's kind of the structure that I was watching as far as a lower high on the midterm here. And to go with that, like I said, the 786, just a little added confluence there. Absolutely beautiful. I was pointing this out on my previous stream as well. All three of these levels, I was pointing out this horizontal structure level of lower high resistance. I had these diagonal trend lines mapped out as previous support, flipping into potential resistance. That played out absolutely beautifully. These lines are still being respected very well. And on top of that, like I said, 786, when I pulled the Fibonacci from the top where this market cycle has topped out so far to where we bottomed out on that big dump there. You guys know by now that I just absolutely love the 886, 786 Fibonacci pocket. And that goes for resistance or support. In this case, we were looking for where the pump may get shut down. So I'm pulling top to bottom of this swing. And lo and behold, that's exactly where we ended up getting our dreams crushed, our hopes and dreams brought to a quick end there. So not all too unrealistic to expect that could have been a thing. Now, something we have to consider is that even though, and I was just talking about this, we now see what the market wants to do if the ETF is approved. So now, even though it hasn't yet, there's going to be a lot of people like myself kind of speculating on that, hey, maybe we should be getting ready for that moment because it's only a matter of time. Eventually, it's going to happen. So there's a lot of people now who may see this as a potential scenario that as soon as it is actually approved, that we're going to see this market go into absolute ape mode and kind of an up only. Not realistically up only, but it'll feel like up only very possibly when we do get that news. So There is some bullish scenarios here that maybe we don't get very much of a SR flip here. I really just can't help but feel a little bit bearish, as I was mentioning earlier, you guys, just because this is such a perfect support flipping into resistance, and it really reminds me of, I'm not even on the right chart here. It reminds me of back when we basically dropped this level back here. This is a logarithmic chart. But basically we had trend lines something like this. Actually, no, it was something more like this. Here, I can actually take it off logarithmic. Let's go regular. And let's go, this is how I remember feeling when we had a trend line. Let me just clean this up for us here. Basically something like this. We have from where this market cycle basically started here. There's our first touch point, second touch point here, and then we just started, after we dumped below that, we just started respecting that support as resistance. And really I'm getting very similar vibes to how the chart feels right now. Just looks very familiar that we have that upward sloping trend line, then we start tapping it from the bottom side. So just something to be very cautious of there, you guys. Not all hope is lost. I want to be clear on that as well. Let's just clean things up a little bit. I'll get rid of these Fibonacci's. And once again, I'll make that a solid line. Let's make it green for support. Because as we had this uptrend here, this was our higher low on the trend. And even when we got this massive dump here, you can see that's exactly where the bulls were ready to step in again. And once again, even after this failure, or just seeing that SR flip here, even getting rejected there, we found support there once again. So, I mean, I always say, guys, support is support until it's broken. So technically on the macro side of things here, we are still in a bit of an uptrend here. If we end up losing this support, that's where we really have to start weighing out some odds. Where are we? Because I really think that if we keep testing this horizontal support, I mean, I just don't know how many more blows it can take before the floor absolutely gives out. But something to consider about that is we have to watch how the market actually reacts to that level, because I can make predictions all day, you guys, but when it comes to trading, I just find that being able to react is 100 times more important than being able to predict. You can make all the predictions in the world, but if you can't act on them, then there's really no point in having those. So we really need to see what the market does if we do come back and test this support. There's absolutely the chance that it is just getting ready to fake people like me out, just expecting this floor to drop, get that support resist flip once again, and dump down to some of these lower levels closer to 20K. That's absolutely a possibility and kind of what I'm expecting. But if we do end up dropping this line and just getting bought right back up, I think there's absolutely the potential. I mean, then we have to watch if we get some kind of a retest, but we have to watch what the bulls are going to do if and when that does actually play out. There's a lot of ifs between now and then, but just something to consider. If we do end up losing that support but regaining it very quickly, I think there's absolutely the possibility that the bulls just step right in with momentum, and then we maybe even end up breaking our current highs. That's where we can start looking at, maybe this trend is going to continue to the upside at that point. And that's when I would be interested in watching some of these Fibonacci lines. Very specifically, I really do expect us at some point to see a harsh rejection around that $48,000, $49,000 level, just because it's a 618 Fibonacci resistance rejection level there. Also lines up with this structure, this horizontal resistance back here. I think it makes a lot of sense that we see a very harsh rejection there if we do in fact end up getting there. I just want to throw on my logarithmic chart again. I know some of you guys have probably seen this before. Let me just clean up a couple things as well. Basically, every market cycle so far, we have seen harsh rejections at that 618 Fibonacci level. And when we actually get a weekly candle close above that, that's where the bulls just come in full throttle, and it just, we go absolutely parabolic. I mean, you can see back here, even though this is a couple market cycles ago, but you can see we got back up to that 618 Fibonacci level. We hit it right here and got this pullback here. It doesn't really look like much. That is actually a 40% pullback. Oh, hitting the wrong button here. From where we topped out there to where it bottomed out, that was about a 40% pullback. So a very serious move there after testing that level. You can see back here, I remember this day very clearly actually when we tested this level and got a harsh rejection. Once again, the 618 Fibonacci resistance level, damn near pinpoint accurate there, and a massive downside correction there. Let's just once again see what kind of a pullback that was. That was actually a 70% correction. Now, something to consider here is COVID obviously had a big part in this. This was our COVID dump, obviously, when the whole world was shutting down and the world was in a massive panic there. So I don't know if the pullback would have been quite as devastating if it was not for that. I honestly think that we would have actually held this blue support box, and that's something that I'm watching for now as well. You can see that we're basically testing a very interesting level right now. I'll get into that in a second. Going back again, go back a couple market cycles here. The beginning of our bear market, basically, we reached our all-time highs. We came back and we set this little bit of a support zone. We ended up breaking down below it. Kind of found resistance in this box and then not even quite getting to it from the bottom side. But after we got back above this, so we never did get much of support resist flip other than right here, which sent us down one more time. But once we got back above that level again, you can see that the market was ready to go the opposite direction, treating that box as beautiful support. And then our next market cycle, this is just our previous market cycle, from our 20K top to our 3K bottom there, bear market. We get back above, this was our infamous descending triangle. Some of you may have been around for this. I remember it very clearly. This was actually one of my first shorts ever. Just a beautiful trade that I had there. And that's basically what got me into the whole leverage trading game. But I remember that point in the market very well. And what happens after we get back above that old support? Never even treated it as much of resistance. I know there was so many people getting wrecked here because everyone was expecting a very harsh support resist flip there. And that's why I always tackle the charts with an open mind, you guys, because I was one of those people. I was figuring this is such an easy short right here in this box because that's such a strong level of support. There's no way we're going to just blast right through it. And well, we blasted right through it. So I got wrecked there. So that image is still burned in my head. But when it came back to retesting that level, I really think our bull market just maybe would have started a little bit higher up here. I really don't think we would have dropped this box as support if it wasn't for COVID. Now, obviously, COVID did happen, so there's no way that we'll ever know what the market would have done there. But now I'm just kind of looking at the same type of market structure, right? Before we started our final plunge with this bear market here, you can see we obviously found some nice support here for quite a while. This was ranging for, well, how long did that go? 21 to, yeah, so over a year, about a year and a half of trading. We had support in this blue box here, and now we've been struggling with it as resistance. From a technical point of view, that's just a beautiful support resist flip. So yes, we absolutely need to pay attention to that because we are at very strong resistance when you look at things that way on a macro time frame as well. So just another point for the bears there. However, once again, that does not mean that we need to see a very harsh rejection here. Like I was talking about back here, we never got that. So maybe right now we are just kind of consolidating at this level. That's kind of the thing, guys. You have to consider that even though we're at resistance, we're not seeing just a capitulation type of event where we're just getting a harsh rejection. I think that definitely changes if we lose this green box, because this is where I'm looking at. This is where we actually got bullish market structure here. We had this low, we had a lower low. Here's our lower high on the macro time frame. We saw it respected again as resistance here, and then we actually got above it, and now we've just been treating it as support. So from a macro time frame like that, I mean, support is support until it's broken. So I right now we're really just coiling in a very interesting range here. We are between a very important resistance level and a very important support level. So We're as far as the midterm goes, honestly, to me, it's a bit of a toss-up. Like I said, I am personally leaning a little bit bearish, but I'm definitely open to the possibility that we get some kind of a pump through this box and then maybe end up treating it as support. And then I think we have a serious case for the bulls there. But like I said, if that does happen, I'm going to be watching this 618 Fibonacci very religiously. And if we end up breaking that, I will also be watching my favorite 786, 886 Fibonacci pocket. On a macro time frame, it seems like the 618 has been more important in the past. Like I said, anytime that we've actually got a weekly candle close above that level, you can see that the market's just gone absolutely parabolic. Go to this next market cycle. Again, we had that harsh rejection, get a close above, perfect retest, boom, absolutely parabolic. So that is definitely a strong level of confluence for me, just going forward. And again, there's so many what ifs between now and then getting to that level. I don't think that's going to be anytime soon. I just want to be looking down the road and kind of having a general feel for the market and just reminding myself, because when I start seeing the numbers, Bitcoin's getting closer to that 50K level. There's going to be a lot of people who are FOMOing in because, hey, Bitcoin's about to break out into its all-time highs kind of a thing. But realistically, we might just be testing some of these higher Fibonacci resistance points. So I just really like to outline that every chance I get because I don't want to forget, and I don't want to be one of those moon boys who just throws my beliefs out the window and just ends up FOMOing in kind of a thing. So definitely levels I'm watching there if we do end up getting some kind of a big breakout. Let's hop over, like I said, this 4-hour chart, the daily chart, I just can't lean too bullish right now just because of that SR flip. But again, I'm willing to change my opinion if we do get some kind of a breakout. Let's hop over. Actually, let's bring up some indicators here. Let's see what my reversal warnings here are saying. The thing is, and again, we're kind of stuck in a interesting place in this range here because even with the MDX ALGO 3 or the advanced trend indicator, you can see that we have these supply zones up here in red and these demand zones down here in green. We're obviously in an interesting range between these. Well, this supply and demand. We're going to have to see what happens. I see a strong case for both, honestly. These W's, they're one of my favorite things when I'm looking at scalping entries. I like to consider them on longer time frames as well, but I haven't back tested on longer time frames as much. This is a little bit of a warning for a bullish case scenario that we're seeing a high and a higher high with these W's showing up. They are not in agreement because our bottoms are still setting lower lows. So a little bit of mixed signals when I'm looking at that right now. Let's take a look at a different time frame, maybe check out the 1 hour. See what they're looking like on the 1 hour. Again, we do have that warning that we have just now, basically, a few hours ago, we did set a higher high W here. We did have this potential reversal to the downside here, but again, the bottoms weren't lining up. That's one thing, guys, when I talk about the W's and which way they're trending, I really like them to be trending the same side, the same direction. So, and when I say I want to see that, I mean that the bottoms are setting higher lows, the tops are setting higher highs, or lower lows, lower highs, trending together. Right now we don't have that, so we're just getting warnings, something like this. I could see more of a bullish case if we're at this supply zone right here. Maybe we do see some kind of a pullback into this demand zone. We see, we have these W's trending like so, and then we see a higher low W come in at one of these demand zones. That may be an interesting buy signal there if we get that kind of a scenario. Because one thing to consider is, let's say right now we end up getting, just a pullback, something like this, another W, and then, hey, we got our trending W's. I don't really consider it invalidated until we drop the previous one, and that would obviously be a fairly loose stop loss. So that's something to consider as well when using that strategy. I like to find those trending W's that are very close to each other. Like if I have a low and then a higher low W, the tops are also trending up. I prefer them to be very close in price level so I can have a very tight stop loss, basically be able to use a little more leverage, just go a little heavier into the position, because obviously if it's a very loose stop loss, then we have to downsize our position for risk management reasons. But in that case, if you did want to take a signal like that, you could just keep a tight stop loss and consider it invalidated if you would drop that new signal. But like I said, you still may end up just losing and then being correct, but it does pull back a little further type of a thing. One of the indicators that I've really been liking lately is actually the auto charting tools. This is one that I've added to my quiver of scalping tools here. This is very degen, guys. I'm just doing this for demonstrational purposes. I'm on the 15-second chart right now, so it's going to be moving extremely fast. But the auto charting tools, I think I actually may even like them more than the W's at this point. They just seem like a bit of a stronger signal, but very nice at pointing out a trend just because we have the color coding as well, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, basically this indicator is showing us higher highs, higher lows, lower highs, lower lows, and that sort of thing, as well as daily opens, weekly opens, monthly opens, all that kind of thing. But these can turn into a beautiful trending situation. And I've only used it for scalping so far. I have not checked midterm trends with this indicator. I haven't checked on the macro, nothing like that. This is a very new tool to me as well. I just started kind of using this the last few days, so it's still definitely in the trial phase for me. But I've found it very nice that sometimes you can get such nice entries or just such nice tight stop losses, basically. Something to consider with this signal, you guys, is it is a bit of a lagging indicator. You're not going to see that signal pop up right at that candle. So let's say right here, this signal would not have been here until I'm not sure how much further away it got from us, but it is just a little bit lagging. It just because it needs to see what the chart structure is doing, right, before it can confirm that there's higher lows, higher highs, all that sort of thing. So it does take a little bit to play out. But so often you'll see a pullback to those levels, and either to those levels, or quite often I'll even just lately I've been setting Fibonacci's. Like let's just say for an example right now, we have lower highs, lower lows. I would like to just look for, hey, where might we get rejected here? Something to consider would be just watching, again, that 786, 886 Fibonacci pocket. See how we react to that level. And again, just if we do end up taking an entry, something like that, we start seeing rejection in here, maybe a trend reversal kind of a signal come in here, then you do have a very tight stop loss, right? I mean, I'd give it a little bit of wiggle room, but then if this indicator is pointing out a trending market, then you can at least wait for that pullback close to that level and then look for a short opportunity. We might even see something like that play out right now. Again, guys, this is the 15-second chart. Take it for what it is. But this is just an example of what I'd be looking for, basically. So if we see this box drop as support, basically see a bit of a rejection there, yeah, this may be a good little scalp short entry. I'm not going to take it because trading the 15-second while I'm on here focused with you guys will be a little bit sketchy. It'll be hard to stay on top of things. But that's just kind of one of the new signals that I've been watching and using recently. And then I still do use the W's. What I really like to see, just again as a little bit of confluence, would basically be if we saw the W's trending with that signal of the lower highs type of thing. Like right now, there is a W behind this little triangle here. So we have our lower high, lower low structure. We're testing that 886, 786 Fibonacci pocket. And then if we saw some kind of downward sloping W like so, that might be a nice entry as far as just being able to pick up a nice tight stop loss type of a short, right? Just stop loss basically somewhere just above the EMA, I would say. But I don't want to take it right now, especially the fact that we are closing candles above that 886, just showing a little bit of strength. But I mean, this is what I look for though when I am scalping. Oh yeah, look at that. So I guess it barely closed above that, so maybe it would have been a good entry. Like I said, I wasn't comfortable taking it, but there's a perfect example of how that strategy kind of works. Yeah, I missed it, but look at that beautiful call. Again, just these lower high, lower lows have our reversal warnings. Things are trending to the downside, and that Fibonacci pocket, the 786 to 886. Those are basically my favorite bits of confluence kind of lined up when looking for trade entries. Oh, Thump's in here. The man who got me into the proper degen mode under the 1 minute charts. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, the 30 or the 15 minute. Let's check it out. But yeah, that's cool. Like I said, it's unfortunate that I missed that scalp or whatever, but it's nice to see basically how those confluences lined up the way I like to look at my strategy there. So hopefully that's a little bit of useful information for you guys. Yeah, let's check out the 15 minute. Nice call. Thanks. Would have been nicer if I actually pulled the trigger, but like I said, kind of hard to trade the 15-second while being sidetracked with you guys here. All good. What do we got here? We do have a higher high signal on the 15 here. We have W's trending to the upside. We're setting higher highs. Don't have a higher low yet. So there's a couple things I would be waiting for here. I would love to see a higher low signal flash. And again, that will flash a little bit after the price is actually set. So who knows, maybe it will appear here in a little bit. It's tough to say. And again, I would like to see the W's on the bottom lining up with the top W's. Then I'd be more interested in scalping the long side there. Let's check the 30 minute. Oh, hey, Wizard. Welcome, welcome. What do we got here? It's looking a little weak. Oh, we did have this little warning here. Set a lower high. But here's one of those times, you know, we do have some mixed signals. That's not there anymore. We do have some mixed signals right now. W's are starting to trend to the downside on the top. Actually, on the bottom, they are still trending to the downside. But something to consider is we do have higher highs and higher lows showing up. So this signal probably triggered when we were somewhere over here. And well, I mean, right as the EMAs were all crossing, there probably would have been a beautiful signal there. But again, I really haven't used those signals very much yet. They're still new to me. But I've definitely been liking throwing them in like I just demonstrated on the 15-second. I think there's a lot of value there. Oh, have a good night there, Wiz. Yeah, how's everyone feeling on the market right now? Is anyone leaning extremely bullish, extremely bearish after that whole debacle with the ETFs? How are you guys feeling on the market? I'm wondering if that maybe spooked some bulls, or if bulls are just getting a little excited, as I was talking about earlier, just seeing what potential lies ahead when these things start getting approved, right? A lot of you guys are probably aware. I've mentioned Prop C a couple times. I know Max has talked about Prop C a couple of times. This is one of the few micro cap gems that I've been accumulating a little bit. This past week, basically, I was buying a little bit more at the $1.18 level. Just, you know, we're getting close back down to all-time lows. It seems like they are active. They are building things. It seems like I don't think the app is available to everybody yet. I think it's only pre-sale users and stuff like that. So I'm interested to see how their product actually works. Very excited for that. Let's check for Fibonacci levels. I assume we're kind of that 886 Fibonacci. Yeah, basically found support just below the 886 Fibonacci level. So right in that 886, the 786, 886 Fibonacci pocket right now. Looks like we kind of broke a bit of a downtrend. Let's just connect some of these wicks. Yeah, it's kind of a messy chart. Obviously, there's low liquidity there, low trading volume, and I think it's only spot trading as well. I know that's all I've done. I'm pretty sure it's only spot right now. So, yeah, that's something that I've been interested in accumulating a little bit of. It's got a low market cap, I think like 8 million or something like that. Other than that, I haven't really been following altcoins all too closely recently. I just think the focus is kind of on Bitcoin right now with this whole ETF stuff and all that sort of thing. I will be watching altcoins a little more closely when I'm more confident in the bull market. I mean, I probably should be thinking about shorting opportunities with altcoins right now, specifically meme coins. I think might be a good idea. Oh yeah, look at this. We're still seeing those, on the 15 second, we see these lower lows, lower high, lower low, lower high. A lot of bearish EMAs here. So when I'm doing this and scalping, you guys, I basically have all the EMAs trends you can see, and I learned this from Thump. Thank you for this, by the way. Basically, the advanced trend, that would be the old MDX ALGO 3. I have multiple of them up here. And basically, I have all the trends from a minute to an hour loaded up. So no matter what time frame I'm on, I can kind of keep a view of the general market and the longer time frames and that sort of thing. And I can just kind of dial into my entry positions for nice tight stop losses on high leverage scalps. And what I like to do basically when I'm scalping, you guys, I am usually very quick to close a quarter to a half of my position, basically, because I'm not entering a trade on a 15-second chart or a 1-minute chart and hoping for the type of move you'd be hoping with a 4-hour chart, for example, right? So don't get me wrong, I absolutely do hope that that type of a thing happens, but realistically, if you can't be chasing those home run trades because you're just going to get yourself into trouble. So especially when I'm trading those degen levels, I'm very quick to start taking profits. And from there, if the rest of the position can turn into a home run, then fucking fantastic. Not expected, but very welcomed. Ethereum, you say? What type of a time frame are you thinking there, Steve? $4-hour? Yeah, I like a few things here. What do we got going here? I bet we tested some interesting Fibonacci levels there, actually. Yeah, perfectly testing the 786. Guys, there's a reason why I love this 786, 886 Fibonacci pocket. It just seems that any time frame I look at, I know most people love to look at the 618, but I find that these lower ones are actually respected. Just we end up pivoting at those levels, it seems like more. And not only that, but then obviously you have a tighter stop loss as well. So even though you're not going to get it every time, it just, I mean, you could have been on smaller time frames looking for this kind of a bounce. And I mean, look at that level. That fib level would have been perfect for looking for scalp entries. In fact, let's take a peek. Let's hop right over to a 5-minute chart. See what it looks like when we tested that level. Yeah, just wicked in. Just wicked below the 786. Every candle body closed above it and found absolutely perfect support. So that would have been a beautiful entry. That's where I like to, look at the chart on longer time frames, whether that's actually going to those different the longer time frame charts, or just bringing up the different trends with the indicators or whatever, just having a general view of a longer time frame than what I'm actually trading, just so that it's easier to point out the trend that way. So yeah, to look at this kind of a level on a 4 hour and then zoom right into a 5 minute. I mean, we could probably even zoom in further. I'm curious to see what the 1 minute looks like. Where the candle bodies weren't even closing below the 786 on the 1 minute. Oh, there we got one. But again, next candle right back above. Just crazy how well those Fibonacci levels are respected. Another thing I really like to look for is when you get these double signals. I have finally turned these divergences back on. I made them white just so that they really stand out. That would be these regular divergences, those little house-shaped ones. I think normally by default they're orange. I changed them to white just so they stand out, and as well then I don't get them mixed up with my yellowish, orangish W's. That way I can tell that they're both there, kind of a thing. So we don't have the trend, we don't have the higher highs, higher lows coming into play yet, but that was a nice signal there. Generally speaking, I don't like to take a trade just on one signal like that unless I'm just being a total degen and hey, I'm going to have an extremely tight stop loss just below it, basically. But hey, that would have worked out beautifully too. I'm not interested in it, but that would have in that case. It's good to see these EMAs starting to cross bullish again. Does anyone have any questions about the indicators, about how I use them, about my scalping strategies, anything like that? Is everything I'm explaining, hopefully it's clear as mud? I'm as much of a legend. Oh, I don't know about that. I still got lots to learn there. How am I this much of a degen is maybe. I think you had a typo there, Max. Maybe a legend among degens. I'll take it. 69x. Yeah, well, hopping over to the 15-second chart, I gotta up that. That's more 100x territory. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I think I've kind of went over everything that I wanted to. Unless anyone has any questions or anything other than that, I will keep the charts up. We can still just hang out, chat, whatever you guys want for a little bit longer here. I'll keep this chart going on the 15-second here for all my degens out there. We can just take a little watch here, but as far as the midterm, the long term, you guys know where I stand. Basically where I stand on the midterm is I don't know until we break one of these levels. I think we'll have a more clear picture in that case. As it stands right now, I'm just going to do my degen scalping. Anyways, my friends, if you're watching this stream a little later on my YouTube channel, and you did appreciate this video, please do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. If you want access to these beautiful indicators as well as being part of these live streams and other coaching events put on by myself and others in MDX Crypto's VIP Discord, there's a 15% discount referral link down below to join. If you're looking for a no KYC exchange to trade on, I am now partnered with both the MEXC and BingX crypto exchanges, and I have referral links for special bonuses on sign up down below. MEXC BingX, you guys, has extremely cheap trading fees plus an additional 10% discount on fees with my link. And BingX has the unique ability to also trade stocks, Forex, etc. on top of crypto. And with my sign up link there, you will receive a 50 USDT trading bonus with your 50 USDT deposit. With that, I'm out. Stay safe, my friends. Peace.